Today I thought I'd talk about various things to do with birds and the spring. Um, I remember that this is around the time that the cuckoo used to arrive, and Mam had a little song. I think it's a traditional song. The cuckoo comes in April. In May he sings all day. In June he changes his tune. In July away he flies. In August away he must. There seem to be various different versions of this, but as best I can remember it, that's the one that we knew. I suppose it's just another part of English tradition. It has to apply to England because that's the date that the cuckoo comes to England. Other countries have various different traditions to do with birds. I have here a couple of Martenitsi, I think they're called. I hope you can see those. You see the picture of some there. A Bulgarian tradition whereby you hang those up as a mark of spring. It's a protection from one of their gods, I'm sure, that you indicate it when the birds, the martins, arrive. That's the coming of spring, and you celebrate you survive the winter essentially. Various traditions have various different means of marking various parts of the year, and the spring is certainly one that has many. As a child, we used to have a mule canary bird. It was a cross between a canary and something else, a finch, I think, which used to sit in its cage and sing pretty songs. I suppose you never thought much of it. It was just part of the sort of, it was there. Used to feed it and clean it out occasionally. That was all there was to it, really. It was just a sort of bit of melody in the background. Of course, Mam also used to sing. She used to have sometimes to the radio and sometimes just on her own. People seem to do it much less these days. It seems that one of the main reasons people don't sing anymore is because if they do, the younger people seem to have a habit of mocking it. I certainly wouldn't claim to be able to sing, and certainly wouldn't mock anyone who did. I think it's a shame that people don't sing as much, and certainly don't whistle as much, do they? Perhaps a few birds around the place might be an inspiration. Over the years, we've kept hens mainly as regards birds. A relatively simple thing to do. We've always been able to let them out during the day. You have to be sort of in the countryside, but not too wild, or you'd run more risk of getting attacks from foxes or whatever. They need a place to shut them in at night. They need nesting boxes with, say, hay or something similar, that kind of size, so the hen can easily fit in it. You don't have to have one for each hen, but you certainly have to have enough, because when they want to lay their egg, they want to lay their egg. If they can't lay it in the nest you provided, then they'll lay it somewhere else under a hedge or something, and you might not find the egg. It's one of the great excitements, I suppose, of life, is finding a hen egg. There's just something about it. It just magically appears, it seems, in the hen nest. And of course, they're much nicer to eat if you've let them out all day. The eggs are much nicer than they are when they're kept in. I think I mentioned before that the people just up from where Grandma lived used to keep a lot of hens, but they kept theirs in a run, and so it would tend to become muddy. You couldn't really claim they were free range, whereas the ones we've kept have been free to roam, such as they eat insects for their source of protein. You just feed them a little bit. We used to feed them hen food in a hopper, and water in a hopper, That way, they're sort of, you just need to keep them topped up and check that they haven't got lice, that they haven't got any other problems, and that they've always got food, and that rats aren't coming in and eating the food. You hang the hopper up so the rats can't get to it, but the hens will spill bits, and if you leave it around, then you run a risk of things coming to eat it. I've mentioned Paul before. He's the one that I went to the blues festival with. I went to visit him once down when he was at university in Brighton, Sussex University, and they'd taken over a hotel for the students. So he had at one time he had a room in the hotel, and then later on he lived in a shared house with other students, and he kept macaws in his bedroom. He had half a dozen, I suppose. I can't remember whether, I think he was breeding them. Whether he succeeded or not, I'm not sure. Very sort of strange thing somehow, because when we stayed in a spare bed in the same room with these birds. It's like so many really strange things. You get used to it quite quickly, because once you turn the light out, they settle down. But of course there is a smell of, inevitably, of bird muck. But there you are. People do things when they're young, which might seem strange now. Have had little goes with ducks and turkeys. I think the ducks, when we let them out, disappeared basically down to a stream, so that didn't work at all for us. In spite of what the likes of Seymour says that they'll come back, well, they didn't. The chickens do. Well, if you keep them in you need to keep them in for about 3 days before you let them out, so they know where their home is. Then I've not found there's a problem, but ducks, I don't know the solution. Turkeys are a bit big to kill, a bit frightening to kill, to be honest. But chickens, I've managed that okay. You basically stretch their neck is essentially what you do, but then you have to pluck them as quickly as possible afterwards, because the feathers come out much easier while it's warm. Preferably you get your wife to do this, because it's monotonous and difficult. Sort of like the killing is a man's job and the plucking tends to be women's work. That's not so you can't help. If you're a bit slow with it, then you can get a steam iron to warm it up again and open the pores, so it's easy to get the feathers out. I don't know if I've got a lot else to say, other than if you're buying chickens, you're best to buy so-called point of lay. They'll have pale combs. They go red when they're in lay, but if you buy them in lay, the sheer fact of moving them will throw them off lay for a week or so anyway. So if you can get them within a week or two of coming into lay, you might just as well. They're cheaper than those in lay. And they'll settle in, and they should lay nicely for you if you provide them with proper food. It's really all there is to it. And keep an eye for, you have to be able to pick them up. They won't hurt you. They're fine. There's various ways of doing it. There's fancy ways where you can get them behind the wing and pick up 2 or 3 together, but if you just hold them, pick their body up like this, then that works fine. Don't be afraid of the flap and the threat to peck, because they won't hurt you. Well, I never have been anyway. Even if they peck you, it doesn't hurt. They just sort of seem to deliberately not hurt you. They just sort of touch you with their beak. And killing them, it is a matter of courage, really. I suppose you just need to do it, and then you have to put your hand in to pull out the guts, and you will get your hand covered in guts. That's a fact of life. But other than that, it does give you a sense of satisfaction, because it is an essential part of living, is to be able to kill something and eat it. I know there's various vegetarian things, but even vegetarianism, somebody somewhere along the line has to kill the male animal, or well, I won't go into the great ecology of it, but really, realistically, somebody has to kill an animal for you at some point, and you should do it yourself at least once. It's part of the understanding of life and death. Even a chicken has a process of dying, and you get that feeling of, even chickens have, I suppose, what Christians will call a soul. They have a life force which leaves the body at a point, and it's not the same point at which the body starts moving, and you'll sense it eventually. When the first time you might be too concerned about what you're doing, but eventually you can learn to respect this and honor its life. It's a difficult thing to explain, but it is a part of life. And on that business, I'll say bye.